Public safety, the ability to know what you are going into, right? The ability to have a sensor go off to be able to see what it is autonomously without having, helicopters are expensive, planes are expensive, drones are less expensive, but they're still expensive. But the ability to be an agent on the ground and know what you're driving into. Am I driving into a group of 50? Am I driving into 3 vehicles that are full of who knows what? Or am I driving into some snowbirds that are out hiking, and looking for rocks in the desert? That's the game changer. So connectivity is a must. It's a must. It's there. It's expensive. We have to invest in it.
Did you know U.S. Border Patrol agents monitor about 6,000 miles or nearly 10,000 kilometers of Mexican-Canadian international land borders? In addition to patrolling by land, agents also monitor 2,000 miles of coastal waters around the Florida Peninsula and the island of Puerto Rico. It's grueling, around-the-clock work, sometimes in isolated terrain and unpredictable weather. And we haven't even touched on challenges of connectivity, but I'll get into that in just a moment. Welcome to Critical Connections, a podcast that features the stories of the people and companies helping to make our communities connected, informed, and safe. Joining me now from Abingdon, Virginia is Eddie Wagner. He's a retired Border Patrol agent who spent 25 years in the field before switching gears to bring his extensive expertise to MissionRT. That's a company that supports and empowers frontline workers in their mission to protect and serve. Welcome, Eddie.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
And also with me today from McAllen, Texas, Mentor Alejandro Cavazos. He's a business development advisor at Dejero. Before joining the company in 2022, Mentor was also a Border Patrol agent, proudly in uniform for 15 years. He started his career in firefighting and as an EMT, so he's got plenty of insight to share. Thanks for being here, Mentor.
Of course. Thank you for having us. And Eddie, thank you for being here with us too.
Absolutely. Thanks, brother.
All right, so let's get started. Eddie, you recently made a major change, hanging up your gun belt after a quarter century working in Border Patrol. Congratulations on your retirement and a celebrated career. You've joined MissionRT. Tell me why you wanted to take on this new challenge and, tell us more about your new role.
Well, again, thanks for having me here and be able to explain all this. MissionRT, immediately, when I talked to Richard Coleman, who is the CEO, founder of MissionRT, and he believes in the things that I believe in, which is how do we get the latest and greatest technology in the hands of the frontline personnel, the warfighter, the first responder, the teachers, the health folks that are out there doing great work every day. And that's a mission that I've never stopped being an advocate for my almost 25 years in the Border Patrol. So it was a no-brainer, right? Richard came along, said, come join me on this fantastic carpet ride. And I said, absolutely. And I'm looking forward to it. Sky's the limit. We're looking forward to work with a lot of great vendors like Dejero and doing a lot of good for the guys and gals out there on the front line.
Now, both you, Eddie, and Mentor have been in Border Patrol, so I would like to get both of your insights, but maybe, Eddie, let's start first with you. How do you, how have you seen it change? But let's start first with what it's like to be a Border Patrol agent today. Like, what are the biggest challenges?
So let's take it back to when I entered on duty, 1999. You can just take it from me, and I'm not that old, right? There's folks that have been doing it for a lot longer than I have since the, early 1900s, right? A day in the life for me was a meeting, you had muster, you had your area of responsibility. You went out with your walkie-talkie and your sidearm and did the best to protect this country. That turned into, hey, now you have cameras that can help you see the border. Just in my time in the Border Patrol, hey, there's cameras that are on these towers and they can see miles. And then that turns into, now we have drones that can fly around the border. Now we can have drones as a first responder type, and something happens 10 miles away, instead of me having to get in that vehicle and drive 10 miles, the drone can be there in a matter of minutes. So just in my lifetime in the United States Border Patrol, the jump in technology is incredible.
Wow. Mentor, how about yourself? You recently joined Dejero, but you spend really most of your professional career in the field. How did you see a change from when you started to when you left?
Yeah, I started in 2007. Back in 2007, we only had sensors, which were Vietnam era sensors, actually. There were big cylinder sensors that they were motion activated, or it wasn't motion, I'm sorry, it was movement. And from that, it went into cameras, and to cameras that you would control with a joystick. And from that, it turned into towers that were rapidly deployable anywhere. And then from that, it turned into towers with AI and trail cameras. And it completely revolutionized the way we work out in the field. And finally, just before we left, we had the new guidance with ATAK, which each agent was given an Android phone, and having ATAK on your phone gave you the power to see and locate everything a lot faster.
Yeah, if I could add to that, when we talk about TAC phones, it's incredible. It's incredible to think that an agent can be that autonomous in the field, right? To be in an area where you can take control of the camera. That lets that camera control person then go onto another camera, right? And not take up all their time. So TAC phones are a game changer. Absolutely.
Yes.
This is really interesting to me because obviously, in the same way that maybe this field has been transformed with changing technology, connectivity is really an important ingredient here because you can have the latest and the greatest, but if they're not able to speak to each other, it's almost as if you've got nothing really to work with. So let's talk a little bit about some of the specific connectivity issues that border agents face, especially in remote areas. Let's start off with you, Eddie.
Okay, so as you can imagine, there are vast stretches along the southern border and northern border where there is no connectivity, even down in the Gulf, right? Even down in the Keys and that way. Imagine you've got your walkie-talkie and you have a repeater. Well, the repeater is great if you can reach the repeater, right? Line of sight works as long as you can see the person that you're trying to talk to. Where technology comes in is we know that we need to create mesh radio networks, right? We need to create the ability to be in the middle of the Tohono O'odham, right? Where there's absolutely no communication, and to be able to leapfrog out. And how do you leapfrog out? Maybe it's a router on a truck. Maybe it's a router on a tower. But to be able to provide officer safety and communications, which is a huge challenge, there is technology that exists today right now that we can put out there to help the guys and gals stay connected.
Mm-hmm. How about yourself, Mentor? What did you see on the front lines when you were there and connectivity maybe was a challenge with the technology you had?
Yes, just like Eddie said, right? I can explain it even better. Eddie being a program manager for IDVRS, which is a program that completely needs connectivity for it to support and be able to do what it's there for, it's just phenomenal having this technology with us. Just before I left, for example, we could have all these different technologies out there. We can have radios, we can have ATAKs, but at the end of the day, we work in areas so isolated that there's no connectivities in certain areas. And you're back to like you were in 1925 when the Border Patrol was created. You're out there by yourself with a flashlight in your hand and trying to make the country safe. But the last 3.5 years that I was within the Border Patrol, I was doing technology. I was part of a technology team in the Mechanic Station AOR. And what we were doing, we were trying to give connectivity out in areas where there was no connectivity. Like Eddie said, mesh networks, we didn't have that technology yet, or we didn't have the budget for that technology at our station. So we were pushing Dejeros where we're microwaving Dejeros and connectivity into the field so we could have better connectivity for the agents. And having that connectivity at the edge is just a game changer. And like you said, connectivity is a highway of connections, right? If you don't have that, you can have the best technology out there, but without connectivity, it's not going to work.
Mentor, something we just did together right before I left as well, right? We went down to Puerto Rico and we took body-worn cameras, which is the program you're speaking of that I created with a fantastic team. I didn't create it by myself. I had a fantastic team. But we went down there and we said, hey, we have these body-worn cameras that are able to live stream and they can two-way talk. But there's no connectivity. So what do? We put a Dejero router inside of an AMO boat and we went out in the middle of the Atlantic, 22 miles, I think we were out there, and had connectivity. And they've never had that. No, well, unless you use a satellite, which is very expensive, right? So once they realized what the Dejero routers could do for them, it's a game changer. They're all in. So now we just need to find a way to get the money, keep that speed, right? Keep that interest going and make it safer for these guys and gals out there in the middle of the ocean.
I want to pull a thread here because I think, Eddie, you and I talked before and you had mentioned that one of the biggest game changers for those on the front lines is body-worn cameras, body-worn technology. So tell us how it's revolutionizing Border Patrol. And then we can talk obviously about what we're seeing now in terms of adoption and how much further it can be taken.
Well, it's 100% game changer. Let's be honest. Body-worn cameras can feel like the boogeyman, right? Let's be honest. But the policy was written, and I made sure the policy was written in a way that it was there to support the guys and gals wearing body-worn cameras to do their job. So what the body-worn cameras do, it opened up a line of sight into what the guys and gals do every day, right? The heroes in green and every other uniform, but specifically we're talking about the Border Patrol right now, right? In green do every day in rescuing people, catching bad people, and keeping bad things out of this country. Well, once we got to put those up close and personal interactions in a video and be able to share those videos and show people we are 100% transparent. Here's what we do. Here's a great job we do. And people got a lot of interest in that. And then the agents started to realize, wow, this body-worn camera that maybe in the beginning I was a little bit averse to, now I realize this actually helps me. It helps me with my safety. It helps me with the public's safety, right? It helps me do my report writing to make sure that it's thorough, right? And it's 100% correct, right? You may think the car was orange, but really it was yellow, right? You watch your video, oh, it was yellow, it wasn't orange, that type of thing, right? And the ability to save those videos, to share them in the cloud instantly to headquarters in DC. So you can watch an event happen in Washington State and literally watch that from your desk in Washington, DC is phenomenal. I can't say game changer enough because it's a program that is proven to protect the guys and gals in uniform, protect the public at the same time. And sky's the limit, right? Maybe one day the cameras are as big as buttons. Maybe one day the cameras, you don't need a radio. You talk to the camera, right? But they're an incredible tool. They're being used. They're being adopted faster than, truthfully, I thought they'd be adopted when I started this thing back in 2017, 18. Nice to see them out there. What's really fun, though, if I can keep going for a second, is I would get calls up until the point that I retired from agents. Usually it's the older agent, right? What do older agents hate? The way things are and change. So they would call up and they would say, Eddie, thank you. Right. Thank you. Because I was able to say, hey, I didn't do this thing that they said I did. And we proved it in 20 seconds. Right. So,
yeah, exactly.
It's a phenomenal tool.
So you're kind of bringing up an interesting topic, and it's a great segue because some of the biggest hurdles that can come often from government, whether it's public agencies moving too slow to adopt new technology or even fear over new technology, I think that budget restraints are also a major challenge. So how do you make the case to get the tech in the hands of the people who need it the most? What do you think, Eddie?
So I think the argument is easy. The public wants it. Right. And if the people in our government at the highest levels are here to serve the people, the people want it. And it is doable. It is expensive. It's one thing to say, hey, we're going to buy these body-worn cameras for this local police department. Okay, well, who's going to give them the money to support those cameras in perpetuity? You have to have that. So the argument is simple. You want transparency, provide the cameras. You want to show the great job that's done, buy the cameras. There's no this is my personal opinion. There's no real reason for them not to put the money into it unless they want to put the money somewhere else, right? So we have to convince them this is your return on investment. Your return on investment may not be money, although it sometimes is money in the ways of avoiding lawsuits, things that did not happen, lengthy investigations. But the ROI is more in here's the great job that your guys and gals do on the front line every day.
Well, we have, of course, a new administration now in the United States, and security and border patrol is certainly an important priority. How are we feeling? Do you think that this is a positive sign in regards to potentially moving along some of these projects that have been, idling there for a bit?
100%, I agree. There's excitement, right? There's excitement to get back in there and enforce the laws that are on the books. That's all the guys and gals in the uniform want to do. Just let me enforce the law that's here. That way I don't have to think about it. This is the law. Right? So now you have people in office that want to enforce those laws. How do you make those laws enforceable in an easier manner? You throw money behind it, and science and technology, research and development. And how do you make things a little bit safer, a little bit easier, a little bit faster for the guys that got on the front line? So overall, everyone I talk to is excited. from the Capitol to the White House to the appropriations. They're excited. Now it's just a matter of getting through that wonderful machine we call politics on the Hill.
And getting it moving, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really interested to hear from all of you on whether you think the opportunities are over the next 3 to 5 years in Border Patrol. I mean, technology obviously will play a big role, but there's a lot more. It's very complex. What are your thoughts on this?
I guess to the mentor talk for a minute.
Yeah, mentor. Let's get you in. Let's get you in there. Where do you think the opportunities lie then?
So this, as an agent, this is what I see in the future or in the near future for everybody, right? One of the main things is connectivity. And if you have connectivity, you have everything, right? And it doesn't matter what you need. You need connectivity. You need that connectivity on the edge. And once you have that, you can put anything else on top of that. And truly what I see is, what I envision for the Border Patrol is being like Eddie said, being the agents being more autonomous. Having each unit, imagine having a unit with a gateway inside that has the power for any agent to connect to its Wi-Fi, wherever they're at the Hona Odom, at the Rio Grande City, Zone 1, where there's no connectivity, right? Imagine having that connectivity there, being able to just connect to that Wi-Fi, being able to see that live video feed from the video camera, from eventually the vehicle camera. Imagine being at headquarters and being able to press play with a big incident happening the southern border and be able to see that live happening, and having that flow of information from the station, from the line all the way to the station, to the sector, to headquarters. Right now, all that information is done by phone calls, by emails, and it takes a long process. And just having that capacity to be so autonomous, I think that's the vision for where I see for Border Patrol. That's the vision I see for Border Patrol. Because having that connectivity, it's going to be a game changer for everyone.
And I think I want to add too, because I know that a lot of these terrains, especially in Border Patrol, it's pretty desolate. It's pretty remote. And I don't think that, people realize that there isn't a lot. So if there is an emergency, in some instances, people are alone with no help. So it becomes a matter of life and death, for anybody, including Border Patrol agents. Eddie, I just kind of wanted to pick up on where Mentor left in regards to sort of the promise. What are your thoughts?
I think that everything Mentor said, 100% agree. Officer safety, public safety, the ability to know what you are going into, right? The ability to have a sensor go off, to be able to see what it is autonomously without having, helicopters are expensive, planes are expensive. Drones are less expensive, but they're still expensive. But the ability to be an agent on the ground and know what you're driving into. Am I driving into a group of 50? Am I driving into 3 vehicles that are full of who knows what? Or am I driving into some snowbirds that are out hiking and looking for rocks in the desert? That's the game changer. It makes it lowers the stress level, right? You know what you're getting into. It might raise the stress level, but you can lower it, right? You can already de-escalate before you're even there. So connectivity is a must. It's a must. It's there. It's expensive. We have to invest in it, but it's better for everyone.
Nothing will ever replace, obviously, boots on the ground or, the cold nose of a canine unit. We all agree that's what's critical in empowering, the heroes to be able to do their jobs, protect communities, and, ultimately create a safer world. With that in mind, what would you say is the most logical to essentially implement, say, for 2025, building into 2026? Because, there's a lot of really great ideas and huge technology. I mean, AI, for example, of the promise of it, but it's still a long ways away of understanding how it's actually going to empower people. What do you think is realistic in the next year that can be done to support Border Patrol agents and communities?
So, oh my goodness, I'd say several things, but non-technology wise, more people, right? More people in the field, not processing, more people in the field, better processes for processing through our digital system and everything, correct? On the technical side, something that we've already looked into right now and we're working on, right? Fiber optics. Why? We're in the 21st century. Why do we not have fiber optics along the entire border? Right? Why not? There's your connectivity right there, correct? I get it's expensive. I get that, but it's doable, right? Then you put the infrastructure in there, and you got to protect it in some way, right? Because there are bad people out there that do nothing better than to do something up and break it, right? But the ability to have fiber optics would then increase your ability to have cameras, would then increase your ability to have Wi-Fi, right? All of it along the entire border. We put people on the moon. Come on, we can put fiber optics to the desert, right?
Yeah, that's so interesting. Mentor, what about yourself? What are your thoughts on this? On how you can move technology forward in the next year?
Personally, as a business developer, I will continue. My main thing is continue tackling the stations and the sectors. At the station level, the sector levels, putting that technology at the hands of the actual agents that need it. And then from there, actually for them, showing them how it works, how it benefits them, and how much it is needed and how easily it changes their jobs and makes it a lot easier and safer. That's my prerogative. And I believe that's the best way for you to do this year. And then from there, it's a multi-pronged approach, right? We have Eddie, RT, Mission. We have my boss, Jehan, which he tackles headquarters. And then it's just a process. It's a multi-pronged approach that we usually do. And it should work for us.
I haven't asked you this, but I'm curious. When you speak to people who are, in the field and Border Patrol, have things gotten better or have things gotten more challenging?
So we're talking 2024, 2023, 2024. It's gotten worse for everybody. It's been bad. It's just the number of subjects that enter the border illegally. It's been overwhelmingly for the agents. And like they said, like Eddie says, most of the agents, they want to work. They want to enforce the laws. They want to protect the country. And being able to do that now with our new administration, it's going to be a game changer for everyone.
Yeah, so pardon me, it's cold out here. The guys and gals are excited to be able to do the job, like I said a little while ago. The excitement is there. The want to be there in the field by yourself 10 hours a day in the middle of the night is there. The desire, because that's all that the Border Patrol agent wants to do, right, is to keep bad things and bad people, right? I'm not one of the people that think that everyone is a bad person, right? But in the Border Patrol, we do catch a lot of really bad people, right, from all over the world. And that's who we need to make sure we know who's here, right? The other ones, we help the best we can. But those that appear to just be nefarious and be bad actors, we need to know. And we have the ability to know. And the guys and gals now are, the energy's back there. Everyone I talk to, they're happy to be back wearing that uniform again. They're not just, processing people and putting them on buses and moving them around the country. They're actually enforcing the law now. So the excitement's there. And the Border Patrol and OFO and AMO and all the law enforcement entities in the government, they can do a great job. Just let them do the job.
Yeah. Well, before we go, if you could send one message to the men and women on the front lines, what would it be?
We are going to cultivate the latest and greatest tech and put it in your hands and make your job easier, make your community safer, and make this world a better place to be in, period. That's MissionRT. We're going to do that. And especially with partners like Dejero, we can make that happen.
A mentor, last words from you.
There's no better sentences that I can put together than what Eddie just said, right? We're here for the men and women of Border Patrol, and whatever they need, whenever they need it, we're here for that.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you to you both for joining me today for this enlightening conversation. Eddie and Mentor, this was really informative.
Thank you. This is exciting. Let's do it again.
Yes. Thank you, Evie. And thank you, Eddie, for your time.
As we've heard today, innovation and dedication are bridging the gap at the border, connecting communities and ensuring safety. For more information about how Dejero is bringing mission-critical connectivity to Border Patrol, head to dejero.com. See you next time.